Good morning and welcome again to another press briefing. We have them all daily so that we can keep you informed as to what's happening in the recovery process of this all lovely Dominica. Let me also welcome the stations that are joining. We expect that it will be, and it is, DBS Radio, Kyrie FM and Vibes Radio. We also have people on social media listening in, watching, doing whatever they can to get involved. Facebook, YouTube. Today we will have with us, or we already have with us, two very important people who will tell us about insurance. Now, the word insurance is a comforting word, but sometimes it can be something we don't truly understand how the comfort works. And today, these two fine gentlemen, who I'll mention later, are here to tell you how best to work your insurance policy in order to have your claim satisfied or fulfilled. Before I do that, I will give you the updates which you all love to wait on and anticipate. The updates from Domlec. Domlec is saying they're working on the Dawasco Betong issue and they should be connected today unless an issue is found with their installation. The areas they say that have been energized yesterday: Church Street, Castle Street, Cross Street, Victoria Street, that's up to DBS Radio. Cox Street between Acme Garage and Cross Lane, Great George Street between Cox Street and King George V Street, King George V Street between Upper Lane and Cross Street, Peel Lane between Great George Street and Independence Street. Now the area is currently being addressed for restoration, that is Friday and Saturday. I suppose that's today and tomorrow. High Street, unrestored areas of Bath Road, Virgin Lane, Turkey Lane and Independence Street, and the areas between Cox Street, Hanover Street and River Street. River Street and Riverbank are not scheduled. There may be a typo here, but River Street and Riverbank have or are not scheduled for immediate restoration due to the extent of flooding damage and ongoing cleanup works. Works ongoing on the HV network in the following areas: the Belfast feeder from Foncolé to Mont Daniel Main Road down to Canefield, Victoria Street from High Street to Citonnier, and that requires traffic control for safe completion. Now Ross University has been restored and lines are now being strung in the Portsmouth Beach Hotel area and other parts of Picard. All high voltage lines in Portsmouth, with the exception of Grange, have been strung. Or just for those who didn't catch it, I'll repeat it after we hear our great speakers today. And there's the update from Dawasco. Dawasco claims to have restored 55% of the country's water supply. And the new areas are Wallhouse, Wharton Waven, Castle Comfort. And they're trucking water to areas like St. Joseph, Mero, Layu, Warner, Coliho, Coliby Stream, Monrachet, Santa Roma, Glasgow, Copthall, Louisville, Shawford, Trafalgar, Mont Prosper, Soufriere, Scots Head, Bellevue, Chopin. Again, I'll repeat this before we end our press briefing this morning. And Flo says that Flo has successfully restored all communication services to the island's main hospital, that is, of course, the Princess Margaret Hospital. The update from Digicel: 19 sites are now live, extending coverage to Warner and Campbell. ICT connections of businesses accelerated so as to encourage economic stimulation. Hot desk operational for Digicel business companies, providing connectivity and business administration services, available daily by appointment from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the teams continue registration and verification assessments of damaged houses in the Kalinago territory, having completed Concord and presently working through Atkinson. The update from the Public Works. Bagatelle is now accessible, and this means that all areas are now accessible to vehicular traffic. And the police update. Superintendent Valentine says that the city is getting back to some level of normalcy. Most of the streets have now been cleaned, and so there will be a visible presence of police patrols supported by regional forces within the city. All financial institutions and some of the major supermarkets are open. Puckett's Pizza will be open to the public today. That's it so far. Anything that comes up as we do this press briefing, I'll let you have that information. Now, today we look at insurance. And we have two fine gentlemen with us who will talk to you about it. Now, insurance is important, we all know. Sometimes we do not remember until something happens like has happened now. We have faced a huge and, well, almighty disaster, we can say, with the winds of Maria, 165 miles per hour. A lot of damage has been caused. Some people have been insured, some have not been. For those who are insured, one thing sits on their minds every day. How do we claim? What's the process we have to use to claim, and what happens, how quickly after we claim, after we assessed, that somebody will come around with a check or we can go collect some money. And two fine gentlemen, as I said, are here to address this. One, my good friend Curtis Tong, who has been in the business for a long time and has handled many, many times that sort of thing, perhaps not a great big disaster, but claims in general. And we have Brenton Hilaire. Well, Curtis Tong is of the First Domestic Insurance Company. And from Sagicor, we have Brenton Hilaire. And together, after they're finished with you, you should know a lot about it. Let me call to the mic my good friend Curtis Tong to tell you a little bit more about this claim process and what happens after you claim and what happens down the way to the final check. Curtis Tong, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis Joseph. Good morning to one and all. Good morning to my very valuable customers. It's a pleasure to be here and to give you yet another briefing on what's happening in the industry, and more so at First Domestic. I shall try and deal with this subject matter on an industry basis, so I am not too focused on my company. Today and at this point in time is the time when insurance companies should not be sad but be very happy. I was asked, it was stated to me by a couple of people, wow, you probably have a lot of claims to pay. And my reply was, I wish I had more. Because if we had more, it just means that we'd be putting more into this economy. We'd be making certain that there's money to put your roof on, your building, money to buy your stocks in your stores, and things of that nature. This is the time when the insurance industry is tested not only for its financial robustness, but tested from the standpoint of how much service will we give to those customers? Some customers have been around for 50, 60 years. Hurricane David was 1979, and so customers have been paying premiums for quite some time. Unfortunately, we have had several other incidents. We had Lee, we had very recently Erica, which caused quite a bit of payout. But by and large, customers will tell you, insureds will tell you, we have paid for a long time, nothing ever happened. This is the time when we're not happy about it, about the incident, but we're happy that we can now come up to the plate and make our promise come true. And that is what we should be happy about. This is a time when you cannot treat claims the way that you normally treat claims. This is a catastrophe of historic proportions, never before. And so we must adopt different ways of handling claims. I was very pleased yesterday when we had a meeting with the Prime Minister that most of the insurance representatives were of the same view, that this is a time to show that our promises will come true. This is a time when we have to understand that the public at large, and more so our clients, are under tremendous pressure and perhaps will approach things differently, will become confrontational. And this is our opportunity to show that we care, so we do not behave in the same manner. We must understand what it is like to be sleeping without a roof, to be sleeping on the floors again, and to be bathing from a bucket of water, and in some cases perhaps a teacup. And so we have to deal with claims differently. Yes, we must have the assessments, we must know what was damaged, what was lost, because the policy that we sell you is by and large a policy of indemnity. What we are saying, that in case of a loss, we'll put you back in a same or similar position as you were before the storm. And so, as we get the assessors, their job is to go out and look and to estimate what the losses are. The process, let me repeat, is a fairly simple one. You have a loss, your roof was off or there's some other water damage. You go into your insurance office if they're open and you report the loss. Very simple. It's a one-sheet document with probably not more than 10 questions. Your name, your address, your location, where your house is, and a very brief description was what happened. My roof came off. Water flooded my area. You sign it, you date it, and that's all. That's the first part of it. The insurance company gets this, and companies operate differently. Some companies will send their assessors, or not their assessors, but will send assessors to look at your damage and to quantify it and then bring in a report. Some companies, and sometimes the same company, will give you the opportunity to go and seek and look for persons that they approve to do such a job of assessing the damages. So we'll give you a list of names, telephone numbers, and address of persons who you can invite to come and look at your house to see what the damages is. They do that and they bring the form back into the insurance company. The insurance company now has a report with the damages and the costs that it will take to put you back into a same or similar position. And so they will call you in by WhatsApp or whatever means possible, and they will say, we have an assessment, we have an estimate of what it's going to cost to put you back into a same or similar position. Please come in so we can discuss it. You get to the office, you discuss it, you agree on the figure, and wow, there goes the check. That's it. Fairly simple process. What is happening is this: as I said, the damages are so enormous that it's overburdening the system. We are short of adjusters, and so most of the companies are bringing adjusters from overseas to help with this situation, which is tremendous. Again, it's one way of saying they are honoring their obligations. As of sometime today, in the case of First Domestic, I think we would have had about 2,000 claims already lodged at the office. And there are several other companies who are in a similar position. This puts a bit of strain on the system, and so, as I said, it only takes one day for you to come in and fill the form saying that I've had claims or damage. When we get in touch with the assessor, the person who is coming to your home, to look to see what the damages were and to give a cost of the damage, they will need to get back and write a report and bring to the insurance office. This can take probably 2 to 3 weeks because they're dealing with thousands of claims. It is not the usual thing where you have 5 car claims in a day, 2 claims for cars in a day. This is dealing with thousands of claims. So we will give 2 to 3 weeks. So the first part of it takes a day. Then we inform the assessor. Then he takes 2 to 3 weeks. So we're looking at about 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks. So long as both parties, that is the insured, you, the person who have a problem with your property, and the insurance company sit down and agree on a cost of putting back the house or the property in a same or similar position, there's the check. That doesn't take more than a day, 2 days. There are cases, and there will be cases, where both parties or one of the parties cannot agree on the figure, and that will take a little more time. But so long as this can be agreed upon, it should not take more than about a month plus, 5-6 weeks, from the date you bring that first report in to the date you get a check. Again, the insurance industry made it quite clear yesterday at the meeting that they understand their responsibility and understand that this is a special case. And so some companies have already done this, and the others, I think, will follow suit, and that is to give interim payments. While we're waiting on all the procedures to come in place, we recognize that it is necessary to do cleanup, it is necessary to move all stock from your place and get it dumped. It is necessary probably to send overseas to get some tarpaulin, or to send to Guadeloupe, Martinique, wherever it is, to get some wood or some galvanized. And so we will not necessarily wait until the entire claim process has been completed. We will make interim payments. We will advance you money on your claim. And that should again ease the situation greatly. It is not the full claim process. Some persons will prefer to wait until the process is completed. Some persons will want to have some financial assistance before that process is completed, and insurance companies, we as insurance companies, recognize this and are beginning to put that in place. What again I must say to my valued customers and the industry valued customers is that looting that we saw on a scale never before seen is an exception under the policies. Even if the policy remains silent in its language, it is not covered. So that can be a problem. Normal damages caused by the hurricane, that is covered. Even in the case of automobiles, your cars, your buses, provided at the time of you buying insurance, you bought that coverage. It's a separate coverage that is referred to commonly as act of God. Hurricane, earthquake, windstorm. Generally, the motor policy covers accidents, collisions, accident caused to third persons or to property of other persons, and that is referred to as third-party insurance. Accidents or collisions caused to other persons, whether by your fault or the other person's fault. So that is what the motor policy by and large covers. There are medical benefits under the policy too, but by and large it's a policy of collision, accidental damage. To cover the damages caused by hurricane, you would have had to specifically have that as a part of your policy. Another thing that needs just to be said is the fact that all policies carry what you call an excess, and that is a deductible. I'm very sorry. That's why we're talking about insurance. That's an accident. My cell went on. Since Hurricane David, the deductible has been standardized at 2% of the insured value. In other words, if you insure your house for $100,000, the first 2% becomes a deductible, and 2% of $100,000 is $2,000. Again, most policy has another proviso which says 2% or 2005, whichever is the greater part. So that for a person who has a house valued at and insured, not valued, but insured for $500,000, the first 2% of that will mean it's $10,000. So if you have losses that are below $10,000, there really is no claim. Above that, the other $490,000 is subject to settlement based on certain conditions. It is worthwhile to take note that there is such a thing called an average in the policy, the average clause. And what it does is this, that if your building is worth $1 million and you insured it only for $500,000, then it is saying that there are two persons who are carrying this risk. You, the insured, and the insurance company. Again, $1 million, but you come to the office and say, I want $500,000, and under much entreaty not to do it, you decide to do it, then that is your prerogative. But remember that you are carrying 50% of the risk. Therefore, and that is easily understood, that if the house is valued for $1 million, you insure it for $500,000, and the house is a total loss, then you expect us to pay $500,000 and not $1 million. The problem comes in is when there is a partial loss, and so that the house was valued at $1 million, insured for $500,000, but the damages was $250,000. Then, because of the average clause, then the payment moves to $125,000. It's a little difficult to understand, probably just by me trying to do this on the air, but that is one of the things that you need to look about. We are also aware that most people, when they buy an insurance policy, they look at it, and that's the first and last time they look at it. Some don't even see it because it goes to the bank. And so I think it has become clear to those of us in the industry that not only must we sell a policy, but we should service a policy. We should be visiting our clients from time to time to remind them of what they bought, and to remind them to do several things, particularly in the life business, that if they got married, to change their name, if they change their mind about leaving part of their assets or their asset, particularly life insurance, to come in and change the beneficiary. And so this is another learning process for those of us about the importance that we play in servicing the public, the general public. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and I hope that something that I have said will be of help to you. Thank you very much.
One question. Let us say, just an explanation of what you were, just an extension of what you were saying. Let us say the house is worth $100,000. I come to the insurance company and I say, I'm only prepared to insure the house for $50,000, but your house is actually worth $100,000. Now the house is partially damaged, and the assessor says, well, it's $25,000 or $30,000 damage. The insurance company is saying then that all we are interested in is half the cost of the house, the value of the house. Is that what it is?
You have it right.
I have it right. Okay, good. So if you're underinsured then you can't get the full payment, the full assessment.
No.
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 That is
You
it.
see, because again, let me say, the house is valued at 100,000. You walk into the insurance office, and some people even have a valuation from an independent valuer that says this house is valued at 100,000. But you, the insured, say to the insurance company, no, I only want to insure it for 50,000. In other words, the person is saying we only want to insure it for half the amount. And it is a risk. So what happens here is that two persons are involved. The client, the customer who says, I will insure it for 50, I will take the risk of 50,000, which is 50%, half of the value. The insurance company takes the other half. And therefore, at the time of loss, it is shared on the same basis, half-half. It's, as I said, it's very easy to understand if the house was totally destroyed, the person only insured it for 50,000, although it was worth 100. They will not expect you to pay them 100. They'll expect you to pay 50. The problem that is not so easily understood is when there's a partial loss. The loss was only 25,000. And so the same principle applies at the time of claim as at the time of application for cover.
So if you underinsure, if you insure your house to half the value, then you get half the damages. Whatever the damages are, 25,000, you'll get half of that. This is in fact what you should understand, because I think some people think, I'm insured for 25,000, for 50,000, and I got $25,000 in damages, there I want my $25,000. It is not that way. Once you made that decision, you in fact decided that you would take the risk of half the damages. You would support half the damages. The insurance company will support the other half. We move on to Brenton Hilaire of Sagicor. Please come to the microphone, sir, and let's hear some more interesting insurance news.
Good morning to everyone, to all of our listeners in Dominica. Thank you, Dennis Joseph. Also, thank you, Curtis Tong. You have made my work this morning much easier with your thorough explanation of the general side of insurance. So therefore, I'll use this opportunity to update everyone on what has been happening with Sagicor, while I will also speak to some aspects of life insurance and medical insurance. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Sagicor Financial Corporation and the entire Sagicor Group, we would like to extend our heartfelt sympathy to the Dominican community after suffering loss, whether it's to their property or loss of life. Upon learning of this crisis and what happened in Dominica, our company mobilized and put plans into action to assist where possible. We were able to get shipments in from territories such as St. Lucia, Barbados, Antigua, Grenada, St. Vincent, and our CEO also approved EC $500,000 as a relief fund for the Caribbean, obviously with a large portion of this being allocated to Dominica. And as we speak, our efforts are ongoing. We have begun working with registered NGOs who will be coming to Dominica to provide some assistance to the general public. We have great love for our Caribbean families across the region, and we must thank all of our teams and supporters across the region for agreeing to assist our Dominican family. We acknowledge that this is definitely a difficult situation, and we know that our policyholders have prepared for a situation like this by paying the premiums and committing to the promise that we have told them we will be here when you need us. Just as Curtis Tong said, it is our pleasure to pay out claims once they are submitted. This is why we are in business. With respect to our general side of insurance, which is property and casualty, to date, we have received 178 property claims, and as we speak, we are working to address these claims. We currently have 20 individuals on the ground who are visiting these claimants so that we can start the process. If you do have a claim and you are a policyholder of Sagicor, we ask that you come into our offices, either at Wilshire Services, which is located opposite Charlo's Supermarket, or at the Whitchurch Agency to file your claim. And these offices open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. However, if you are not able to come into the office because we understand that there are challenges on the island, we are free and available to accept your claims via WhatsApp. So I will give you my cell phone number so that you can personally contact me about any claim that you have. It is 275-6605 or 615-7914. In terms of the claims process, we got a lot of information about it from Curtis Tong, but with our company, just to let you know how it's done. You contact us, let us know about the claim so that we can start getting someone to visit you. Take pictures, as many pictures as you can, of the damage that you have suffered. Number 3, try, if possible, to keep your property secured if possible. We don't expect you to go on your roof and nail those boards back in, but if you're able to put a tarpaulin to sustain it for some time, we encourage you to do so. Also, if you are covered for contents, we ask that you do not throw them away, but you secure them on the side so that we can inspect them when we come in. We also advise you to get an assessor to quantify your damage. Now, our company does not have any preferred assessor, so it is up to you as a policyholder to choose someone of your choice and let them assess that damage. Once that is done, you will be visited by what we call a loss adjuster, who will basically come in to speak to you about the damage, assess the property, look at the report of the assessor, and then negotiate with you in terms of the settlement. Once that settlement amount is agreed upon between you and the loss adjuster, we will have a check to you within 10 working days. So this is the process for the general side of our business. To date, we estimate that we have a reserve of $100 million for the general side of claims. However, that's a figure that could rise as time goes on, because we anticipate that there may be more claims coming in, and then every claim will be different from the other claim. Because, for example, I, as a house owner, may only claim for my house. You have someone else who is claiming for their business, the infrastructure. Then you have the other aspect of it, which is what we call business income. If you are covered for business income, that means for the time that your business is non-operational, we are obliged to pay you some sort of compensation. So insurance, as you can see, is very, very important. At times like this is when we come in to help you to get back to the state that you were. And we are not running from our obligation. We are here, and we will remain here until we satisfy all our clients' claims. Sagicor also has a very robust reinsurance program in place, and for the general public, in simple terms, it's basically the company behind us that is going to assist us to pay out our claims. So it's not a matter of worrying that we might go bankrupt or worrying that we might close shop. That will not happen. Most of our insurance companies in Dominica, I should say all, have reinsurers in place, and it's required by law. So you have no worries about our insurance industry. We have our backup plans to ensure that we meet our commitments to our clients. In terms of our life side of our business, because Sagicor also focuses on life insurance, medical insurance. To date, we have received 0 claims for life insurance as a result of the passing of Hurricane Maria. However, we are unable to determine if there will be any claims until we have seen the published death list. I do hope that we do not have as many claims on the life side as we have on the property. In terms of our medical insurance, we are operating as normal. So if anyone is covered by us for medical insurance and they have any medical conditions or any medical claims, they are free to come into our office, submit those claims, and we will pay out the benefits as normal. And that extends to our entire health portfolio. So similarly, if you do have a medical condition and you need to be airlifted out of Dominica, our plan is still operational and will cover you for that. To our Dominican family and friends, Sagicor is by your side, and we also stand alongside our other industry partners. As you heard from Curtis Tong, we are in this together. Right now, it's not a Sagicor thing, it's not a Nagico thing, it's not a First Domestic thing. It is the insurance industry coming together, holding hands, so that we can honor the commitments and the obligations that we have to the public. We want to assure you that we will remain in office for the foreseeable future. We will not hide, we will not run. We have taken the premiums of our policyholders in return of a promise that we will pay when the time comes, and now is the time that you will see that insurance is here for you. So we ask that you be patient with us, because Curtis Tong spoke about it. This is not a normal situation. We have a lot of challenges that we are working with, and we are doing our best to meet our obligations within those challenges. Speaking about the loss adjusters, under normal circumstances, the report from the loss adjuster would come in within 24 to 48 hours. That's normal circumstances. But as he rightly said, we have telecommunication going up and down at no fault of anyone, access to the properties, then you have access to us. So you can expect that there will be a little delay. So we're just asking the public to be patient with us. We will do our best to expedite things to the best of our ability within the circumstances of our surroundings. We also want to thank our policyholders for having faith in us, for having paid those premiums for so many years, and that we will do our best to show them that their payments to us were not in vain, and we will deliver upon our promise.
This question, it comes up every now and then. It's about a month, it's getting on to a month since Hurricane Maria. Is there a deadline, a cutoff date for claims?
That's a very good question. It's not normal circumstances, as we said earlier. And in our meeting yesterday, this is something that was asked at some point. And from the standpoint of the industry, I believe, a cutoff date for claims will not apply during this period. Because we have to understand that we have persons in the outskirts of the city, and everything happens in the city. So we are not going to force persons to find themselves in danger just to submit a claim within this time frame. We are understanding, and we are working with our clients to deliver on our promise. And as I mentioned earlier, if you cannot come in office, we are accessible via WhatsApp. We are open. My telephone number is out there to the public, so we are as open as possible given the circumstances to assist our clients. And I know Curtis and myself, we're not running anywhere, as I mentioned. We are going to deliver on our promises to our clients.
So just that people understand this well. If you claim 60 days after Maria, is that okay?
I mean, case by case. I'm not going to say a blanket policy, but it will be analyzed on a case by case basis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have heard quite a lot today from Curtis Tong of First Domestic and Brenton Ile of Sagicor. Both of these gentlemen understand insurance very well. We had a very, very vivid, I would think, explanation of how insurance works from Curtis Tong, and certainly we had this enlightening talk from Sagicor's representative here, Brenton Hilaire. Insurance is very important to us all, and some people forget it, and from now until the next disaster, if God forbid we have another one, persons should look into getting themselves insured. I think not only half insured, as Curtis Tong pointed out, but fully insured. It's an expense. We think, no, it's an investment. And if we do that, whenever anything happens, and we can't prevent things from happening, as long as we're alive, as long as we live, things will happen. That's the way the world works. Nature does not respect anybody who does not have insurance. Insured or not, according to Bob Marley, when the rain falls, it don't fall on one-man house top. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And we do hope that as we go along, we can have you again to discuss or talk about the new things that might have happened between now and the time you come back. Thank you. And so we're just about coming to the end of this briefing this morning, and I'll just repeat the updates for you, which seem to have got lost. We're not insured, but we have other copies. And that is concerning the Domlec, Dawasco, Flow, Digicel, and the Public Works. I repeat, I spoke of this morning, but now let me repeat them. Domlec is working on the Dawasco Baytong issue. They should be connected today unless an issue is found with their installation. The areas energized yesterday, that is electricity brought to these areas: Church Street, Castle Street, Cross Street, Victoria Street up to DBS, Cork Street between Acme Garage and Cross Lane, Great George Street between Cork Street and King George V Street, King George V Street between Upper Lane and Cross Street, Field Lane between Great George Street and Independence Street. And areas currently being addressed for restoration today Friday and tomorrow Saturday: High Street, unrestored areas of Bath Road, Virgin Lane, Turkey Lane and Independence Street, areas between Cork Street, Hanover Street and River Street. River Street and Riverbank are not scheduled for immediate restoration due to the extent of flooding damage and ongoing cleanup works. Work ongoing on the HV network in the following areas: Belfast feeder from Foncolay to Mont Daniel, that is to Mont Daniel Main Road down to Canefield, Victoria Street from High Street to Citonnier, and that requires traffic control for safe completion. The Ross University has been restored and lines are now being strung in the Portsmouth Beach Hotel area and other parts of Pecan. All high voltage lines in Portsmouth, with the exception of Grange, have been strung. And there's the update from Dawasco. Dawasco claims to have restored 55% of the country's water supply. The new areas are Wallhouse, Wharton Waven and Castle Comfort. And they're trucking water to areas like St. Joseph, Mero, Layu, Warner, Corleyho, Colibis, Fremont, Watchet, Centre Roma, Glasgow, Coptor, Louisville, Shawford, Trafalgar, Mont Prosper, Soufriere, Scots Head and Bellevue Chopin. And the update from Flow has successfully restored all communication to the island's main hospital, that is the Princess Margaret Hospital. The update from Digicel: 19 cell sites now live, extending coverage to Warner and Campbell. ICT connections of businesses accelerated so as to encourage economic stimulation. Hot desk operational for Digicel business customers, providing connectivity and business administration services. Available daily by appointment from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And Digicel claims that teams continue registration and verification assessments of damaged homes in the Kalinago territory, having completed Concord and presently working through Atkinson. The update from the Public Works. Bagatelle is now accessible. And this means that all areas are now accessible by vehicular traffic. And something from the police to end this. Superintendent Valentine says that the city is back, or is getting back to some level of normalcy. Most of the streets have now been cleaned, and so there will be a visible presence of police guards supported by the regional forces within the city. All financial institutions and some of the major supermarkets are open. Turkey's Pizza will be open to the public today. To the moment, these are the updates. The next briefing will be Monday, and we hope you can join us then. In the meantime, keep working hard to make Dominica better. That's the best we can do. Just as the rains and the wind came and destroyed things, we are duty bound as the sons and daughters of this great land to build it all back. And with the help of the insurance companies and the money that they'll bring in, we will do the best we can. And I'm sure we'll look back at this as we look back at David. That's Hurricane David so many years ago, and say, well, David came and went. You will also say, Maria came and went. And we're all the better for it. Thank you.